it's like 9:30. I don't know. As you all can see, I've still been sick. And today has gone a little better. Yesterday was a really rough day. I met my nurse, home health nurse, I can talk. And gosh, I did so much paperwork and then had to do just a bunch of history and stuff with her. And oh my gosh, it wore me out. And then I think I tried to eat something before I probably should have, and it didn't end well. So by the time I had gone through the new nurse visiting and all of that stuff, I was almost sick again and had a really, really bad night. To the point where I got so sick that my husband called the 24-hour nurse line because he was like, she's so sick, she can't stop being sick long enough to tell me what I'm supposed to do. I was like, what am I supposed to do? And but I got through last night. So lovely living out in the sticks, y'all. It's just, we have no hospital anymore. Some foreigner bought it, ran it to the ground. It got into tax lien issues, and it can't be opened until whoever buys it pays it in full, all the back taxes. Nobody wants to do that, so they've got a warrant out for the guy who's apparently in some island congregation somewhere hiding out, spending his money that he got off all us poor people in Appalachia. And so we have no local hospital anymore. So the nearest hospital is an hour and a half away. So the nearest one that I can be put at for my specific needs is a couple, 3 hours away. So that is why they opted to give me the home health care with all my problems and our very particular needs in this area. All my specialists are either in Nashville or Knoxville. And so I had a rough night again last night. I'm feeling a little bit better right now, but it's probably because of what adrenaline pumping through my veins. Because let me tell you what, people. Let me tell you what. When you watch your husband work his hind off, my husband works a full-time job where he notoriously works a double full-time job. And then tries to take care of me, who keeps trying to die on him. It's like my lot in life lately is trying to die. It's been a really rough month. Like all of the end of December and so far in January can go suck a big one as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to be the most pleasant person right now because I'm irritated to hell and beyond. Okay, the Squaw Big MAD is me. Okay, I'm Cherokee. If y'all don't know, I'm Cherokee. I look like my Irish dad more than my Cherokee mother, but I'm Cherokee. I'm Cherokee, Lenape, a little bit of Chickasaw, but I come from the Delaware tribe up north as it filtered down through. About a year and a half ago, I helped my husband make a authentic tanned fox face medicine bag / purse, which in the description says it's big enough for a night out, but not big enough for daily carry. It holds my wife's wallet and cell phone. That's it. You know, made for special use, not daily wear. And this lady finally bought it. And, you know, both David and I, we try to message people pretty regular on Etsy, and he's kind of had to take the lead where I've been so sick, but he was like, she won't message back. Like, she won't message me back. He's like, I've messaged her like 4 times. She won't message me back. And I was like, well, maybe she's just one of those people that don't message people back. You know, it's okay. If y'all hear my cat is knocking, scratching at the door wanting to be fed, ignore him. He will go away. But we thought, it's okay. You know, not everybody messages people back. Not everybody is as social as we are. Not everybody cares. I get it. It's fine. It's fine. Some buyers just want to buy something, have it show up. But y'all, when you read the bio of the store, my husband's store, and you read the listing, and it says, I'm a trapper tanner from Appalachia. I trap on my own animals. Everything that is seen in my store either came from my trap line that I've tanned or was roadkill found, and I didn't want to lose money. It's an animal that shouldn't go to waste. We're pretty authentic. Like, we don't have a Hobby Lobby. I don't know about y'all, but I can't just like snap my fingers, run to Hobby Lobby and find fake things. I have to make the darn things, okay? So if David starts a task and he can't figure out how to make a closure or do something that's more authentic or more rustic looking or uses something natural, he will come to me. Well, we decided that we were going to put a leather loop under the fox face was the flap of the purse. It was all hand leather woven. My hands didn't work for a week. It was really good for my physical therapy, but my hands sucked for a week. And it had an authentic fox face, tan fox face on it, which I could have sold for a lot of money, but I wanted to make this bag that we had both been wanting to make. We had been seeing fox face bags everywhere. They were ugly as homemade sin, and they weren't even real. They weren't even real hides. And we was like, well, we're going to make an authentic one, so somebody gets an authentic one. Made it. Took this bag forever to sell. Like, it's been in my husband's store forever. It finally sold. The woman is tickled to bits with the purchase, but here's what she says. Now, she's from Illinois. Lord love her for buying something. We appreciate her. We need the money. You know, my freaking health care. Fuck Obama. That's all I can say. My health care is so freaking expensive. She goes, I'm extremely excited about my purchase. The bag is gorgeous. It's actually an authentic fox tanned face. No shit, Sherlock. That's why it said authentic tanned fox face. Words. This is where people don't even communicate anymore. We don't even trust each other enough to communicate. We don't even think people are communicating factually when they're communicating factually. If you think I had a problem last week with communication in the nation, you should catch me every other week because I get really irritated with this, okay? Handmade leather, authentic tanned fox face. The leather purse strap was even made from a split rein from Bowman's Leather Shop in Muddy Pond in Amish settlement because it's the one thing that I didn't think I could make of enough quality to last long. So I went and I said, hey, I need a purse strap and then I need some of your really great leather string because it's one thing we don't make is string. And he's like, oh yeah, let me show you this. And so I buy split reins to use as leather purse straps because they will last forever because, hello, you put them on bridles for horses and it matched everything else really well. And I got his leather to lace the thing closed with. And I was like, thank you, Mr. Bowman. Bowman's Leather at Muddy Pond. If you're ever in Muddy Pond, Tennessee, please stop and see Mr. Bowman. He's just a gem. I live in Podunk, people. Podunk. I ain't got no freaking Hobby Lobby. I got Amish neighbors that go, oh, yeah, let me think about this for a minute. Yeah, we do this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we do that. She goes, I'm really excited to carry it. It's a little smaller, but I should have read the description better. Do you think? If I have to break out a tape measure, the least you can do is read the description. Jesus, oh Pete, my God, laziness. That hound ain't gonna hunt. Lord help her. But then she goes, the only thing I'm really upset about is that the bone used for the closure is fake. I'm sorry, Miss Archaeologist from Illinois. How the hell did you know that? Because it ain't. But she leaves this. She doesn't message me. No. David's tried to talk to her. Jesus has probably tried to intervene at this point. She can't message anybody, but she can leave that in a review. So David has to spend his lunchtime responding to a review going, hey, lady, I'm the trapper, tanner, leather work. I'm the person that boiled out all the bones that I use. I guarantee you that thing is real. It's just got a layer of chalk paint on it to make it pop and show prettier from the leather after I cleaned it and sanitized it. And I put Mod Podge to seal it, dishwasher safe, because my wife says that's crap, and it is. Dishwasher safe Mod Podge is the shit. I'm just here to tell y'all. Crafters is great. But the more you loop over the end of that bone, if you don't have a sealant on it, that bone will flake and you will get bone fragments. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't want bone fragments in your hands. Take it from somebody who's done taxidermy and stuff the majority of her work. her work career. You don't want bone fragments in your freaking fingers. It freaking hurts. So we seal everything. And if need be, I will file a bone down to get a sharp edge off. I ain't above nothing. And so David was like, no, ma'am, it's just covered in one coat, barely sponged on, of Waverly chalk paint to make it pop against the brown leather. And then dishwasher safe Mod Podge, so that as you use it, it will be less likely to splinter and crack and last longer. And he's like, the only thing I ask is if you think it is fake and you try to replace it at some point, will you break it so that you know it is real and I told you the truth? I cannot stand people. I'm on a rant this evening. I feel like crap. I felt like crap for a month. I've about died twice. I'm fat girl wants to rant for a minute. So y'all just hang on. I'm pissed. If you do not have the skill to make something like that, then do not question the skill of the people that do make things like that. Because if we cut animals open and we put them back together, by God, do you not think we bull out the carcasses and take the freaking bones too? Because it's money. It's money. I use them in my dream catchers. I turn them into earrings. I specifically asked David, will you bull that out so I can have some bones to work with this winter so that I can have some stuff to do? Because, y'all, I can't afford Amazon toys. I am Cherokee. This is what I was grown up doing with the powwows. The little old ladies would take us in the tents and show us how to do this stuff. My husband is sweet enough every once in a while, bless his heart, and this sounds horrible, to throw a fox or Cody in a big pot on the fire outside and boil that sucker out and sift the bones out, sanitize them. It has to go through about a 3 or 4 step process, and then I end up with all these pretty bones. But they're not always uniform color, and they don't always look the prettiest. So if I'm going to decorate something, I'm probably going to pop it with a little bit of chalk paint and seal that sucker, because bones, as they age, they dry and they flake and they splinter, and you don't want bone flakes and splinters in your freaking fingers. Take it from somebody that has pieces embedded, okay? Doctors go, oh, what's that knot? Oh, it's a cowdy bone. Rubber gloves don't stop everything. I've got linoleum laminate flooring stuck in this thumb. Well, I was putting down flooring when I was 26 and hit that piece in, and it splintered and it went into my thumb and it broke off and it scarred around it. And they said, well, by now we'd do more damage, take it out and leave it in, just leave it in. So I have laminate flooring in this thumb. Y'all should see my body. It is just it's just a treasure trove of tales of what not to do because you live in an area that don't have nothing. So you got to figure out how to do it yourself. Oh. It makes me want to hire a chauffeur and go to Illinois and knock on this woman's home and go, you live in the suburbs, have a cushy life. When did you become a bone specialist? It wouldn't be so bad, except they never say anything except for in the reviews. And then David has to take his whole lunchtime at work to respond to the reviews because they normally come in the evenings. And so he didn't barely get to eat his lunch today, trying to figure that out because he's not the most tech savvy. Normally I'm sitting beside him showing him what to push and where to do it, because he wanted to respond immediately so that people see his response. They know, no, ma'am, every bit of that is authentic, made from scratch. Thanks to Mr. Bowman for the string. Yeah, Bowman's Leather, Muddy Pond. But, everything else is from our shop. So it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating that, you order something from an artisan, someone who has kept skills alive for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then all of a sudden you become an archaeology major and can leave a fake review. So I talked him through reporting the review and then writing a response. Oh my gosh, we have to document everything music. That's why I try to almost make everything live. If you've noticed that if I ever think I'm making something that David might sell, I try to make it during a live. And, mostly he just sells his furs. But if I think I'm going to make something super special, I will almost always try to make it on a YouTube live so that y'all see it. Now, granted, I've been too sick here lately to try to do anything. But I will get back to it eventually when my health perks up. But oh my gosh, like, and we try to provide pictures, tape measurements. That's why we try to communicate. If you have any problems when you receive your item, please contact us immediately. This woman just never responded to anything, but thought she should all of a sudden know exactly what all of that is. I was like, where'd you get your veterinary degree? How many animals have you taken apart? Do you know how easy a bone like that will break if left there to weather without being sealed? Now, now listen, I could have, like, taken pine tar off the tree and smashed it down, and mixed it up with all that stuff that my great grandma taught me, and put it over it and laid it close to a fire and rotated it to dry. But I use dishwasher safe Mod Podge because I am, a new age squaw. Let's just say that. But I can't believe that she would think that we go through the trouble of real leather string, made from hand, real authentic fox-faced tanned hide. But we would go to Hobby Lobby and buy a bone. Do they sell bones at Hobby Lobby? Somebody tell me. I've not been inside a Hobby Lobby. The last time I ordered anything for Hobby Lobby was 2 years ago when my son got married, and they needed lights for the barn, and I handed them my credit card, and that was the last Hobby Lobby exchange I had. Now, I love Hobby Lobby. I just don't get there a lot because we don't have one. So it's like down the hill. It's down the mountain. But do they even sell fake bones? Where would you buy fake bones? And if I had to buy a fake bone, it would have cost a whole lot more, I assume. Because then I would have more money in it. I don't know. People are just stupid. Amazon sells fake bones. Are they like rubber or what? I mean, I understand that people don't. I mean, if and David was gracious to the woman. He was like, easy mistake. He showed me the message he sent her. He was like, it's an easy mistake if you don't know what a real bone looks and feels like, and you don't understand what a sealed bone looks like. He's like, we try to, if they're discolored or they're not a uniform color, he's like, we will try to make them uniform color with Waverly chalk paint, which is the only chalk paint I use. And he said, then my wife swears by dishwasher safe Mod Podge. He said, otherwise it would have been tar resin pounded down to powder, mixed with a bunch of stuff and dried near the fire. He said, we just don't have time for that. He's like, that's the old way. And she still hasn't responded to the message, and it's just like, listen, y'all, listen. There are people like me and my husband that live in Podunk that ain't got 2 nickels to call up a squirrel. But when we make something, it's real. It's real. It's real. Because we don't know how to fake anything. Because we come from the land of we ain't got crap. So we have to make it. So it's made. Normally from authentically what it says made from. I've never seen a fake bone, but I'm from Appalachia, where you don't need fake bones. You just bull out whatever carcass you have. It's like when David was on a trapping video the other day on his channel and walked across a deer carcass. He was like, my wife will make me come back here in a few weeks when those are sun bleached and pick those up. You dang tootin' I will. Those deer ribs make beautiful necklaces. Yeah, you're going back for them, buddy. You knew it the moment you walked past that carcass you were going back for them. We are from the Cumberland Plateau in Jamestown, Tennessee. We are right on the Kentucky line almost. I could spit and hit Kentucky. So we're right on the edge of Appalachia on the Cumberland Plateau where the world never changes because there ain't no main roads. There's one main road comes in and out, and we're an hour and a half from either interstate, either way you go to it. And you have to slide off this daggum mountain to go anywhere. And you just don't slide off the mountain very often to go anywhere. So you just learn how to make your own crap. Gypsy's been with us at some sales. She's seen our stuff. It's made from real crap. It's real hides, and I understand, there you go to a sale now, and I've been fortunate enough in my health. I was able to go to a couple with David this year. People don't know what the hides are. They don't know if they're real. They don't know how to tell if they're real. That's why so many women get duped with fake pocketbooks. And they'll be like, look at my cowhide pocketbook. And I'm like, that's like polyester, lady. And they get upset with me because I can tell. Oh, did you just buy 2 gnomes? Bless your heart, honey. If you have a question about what they are, please ask me. I will let you know. But, even our gnomes, the wood base for our gnomes come from beaver chew logs that David picks up when he's beaver trapping. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy wood when the beaver just cuts it down and dries it for me. It's more authentic that way anyway. And to be quite honest, when that willow dries nice and hard, you can't break it. It's the best wood to use. And my great grandma always said that when you want to make something, you use willow wood because willow was a heartwood. So that's what I've always used is willow. The Etsy shop is Hillbilly Heart Decor. And Etsy is the biggest pain in the butt to search for a shop. So if you type in www.etsy.com//shop/hillbilly heart decor, Etsy's not user friendly. I have issues with Etsy. David has really struggled to learn how to do everything. Jean, if you just bought them, I'll check. I've not checked anything, and I've been laid down. David was just really upset that somebody thought he put something fake on it, and it pissed me off, to be quite honest, because something, if I sit down and make something, I work real hard on that. And I'm not about to use a fake bone when I've got 50,000 in the backyard that's been boiled out, and it's authentic. Like, and that's why I always say you should go watch my husband's trapping channel, which is Trapper Dave Waters. You will see that he keeps everything. Like he's got like 8 hides drawn hanging from a ceiling in his shop right now. My God, I've got a coyote hide in my mud room hanging from the ceiling fan right now because it was having a hard time drying because it's got such thick fur. So he brought it into the house to where it could be in a warmer environment. So if you walk into my mud room, you will walk smack into a coyote hide hanging from the ceiling fan right now. So, but it's all real. Like it's real. If I could walk better and had more steps, I would like take you out every day to the fur shed and show you the nitty gritty, probably some stuff y'all wouldn't want to see, but it's all real. And we work really hard. And that's why we normally get such great reviews from people because they get our stuff and they're like, oh my God, this really is authentic. And I'm like, heck yeah, I ain't got no dang Hobby Lobby. And if I have to pay to order something, that's money that I don't recoup on that item. Now, the only thing I don't fudge on is I always buy the really good wax twine for my dream catchers if I make a dream catcher. Because that wax twine will not give, it will not break, it will last forever, and I can pull a really nice, tight dream catcher with it. If I put gems on them, I want them to be real gems. So I will buy the tiger's eye, the lapis, the agate. I will buy the real gems. I ain't putting no fake gemstones on something. Those gems have energy. Those gems have power. I'm not putting no fake stuff on. No, my great grandma will come up from the grave and beat me. It will beat me. Yeah, my fox was beautiful. Like, I wanted to keep it myself, but every once in a while I make something I know it's just not meant for me. And I know the money it could bring in could help pay for something I'm inevitably going to need with my health. So it's just like, this turned out really awesome here. Sell it, But I don't, and all my dream catchers are made out of willow wood. And we've even done a video to show where David goes and gets the willow from. I use bison water buffalo horn beads and bison bone beads on my dream catchers and real feathers. If you say you have a feather allergy, I will order fake feathers for you. Otherwise, I do real feathers. And unless I'm really going for a color scheme, I don't ever dye them. I've asked for 1 bag of dyed turquoise feathers because I had it up my butt that I wanted turquoise. And they were pretty. But for the most part, I leave them all natural. And I use duck and chicken feathers and turkey feathers. And I had this one woman be like, well, if you were authentic, you would use hawk and eagle. You idiot. That's a federal offense. You may not dispatch a bird of prey. No, ma'am. Even if you come across one that's hurt, you have to call your wildlife resource agency immediately and tell them so that they can come and take it to a rehab. You may not harm a bird of prey in my state. You know, and it's just like, and I responded to her and I was like, you do know it's a federal offense to have either of those in your custody. I'm just amazed at what people don't know. I'm just, and I travel a lot, so I understand how foreign our world is. But I'm amazed at what people don't know. But when they purchase something on Etsy, all of a sudden they have an archaeology degree, they have a pharmaceutical degree, they have a history degree, they have a veterinary degree, they have a biology degree. And I'm sitting here going, I can't tell you any more honest. We took the animal apart ourselves. Scouts honor. And it's just, I get so frustrated. But most of it is because my husband works his butt off. He never sits down. I cost him 2 hours of sleep last night. I feel really bad about that because he's working overtime. But I about went into another lockdown. About my muscles about froze again last night, and I got sick. So it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. Like, when I'm talking all that psychobabble and stuff, if you hate me, that's fine. Because I have the education, the knowledge, the facts. I can bring it forward. I just am so amazed at people that look for artist and quality stuff, and then they don't know what it is. They don't know what it is, but they will certainly discredit you in 5 seconds. And I'm like, I don't know. I wish I could play in like a 5-minute jumbled video in my lifetime in my head of what I've done in my life, so that you could see all the cattle that I've worked and all the horses that I've shot and all the things that I've had to skin and flesh and work in the taxidermy shop and all the animals that I've took apart. When we were dirt poor and I was in college and the kids were little, there was a professor of biology up in the Northeast at a college, and his final for every semester was his class had to come together through the semester and put a full skeleton back together. And it was either normally a coyote or a fox or a mink or something like that. And he would come to us and he would be like, y'all trapping this year? Y'all watching the roads this year? Y'all on the woods this year? If so, can you clean me out another skeleton? And what I have to do was make a big fire out in the yard. This is how we dye Dave's traps. We dye them with walnuts because we can't afford the dye half the time. So we get black walnuts and we boil the black walnuts until the water's black, and then we dip his traps. We very rarely use dye because it's just freaking expensive. So we put a big fire out in the backyard. And you have to cape the animal out. So then you cape the animal out, you got the fur, you can use the fur for something, that's great. If it's roadkill, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, you just gotta deal with it. You try to cut away all the excess meat possible, because it's just gonna get in your way eventually anyway. Throw it out, let the birds come down and get it, just get it out of your way. And wind that little thing into that pot and let it cook outside. It's not going to stink. It's going to smell like roast cooking on Sunday. It's going to really play with your mind because you know what's in that pot and you know you ain't going to eat it, but it still smells halfway decent when it cooks. And then when it gets done, you shake that pot all the way up because the meat will just fall off all the bones. And then you get a homemade sieve and you turn it up and you get all the water through, and then you take your hands and start going through all the meat and every little piece of bone you take out and set aside. And then you wash all the bones that you found. You go through the meat 2 or 3 times, if not more. You wash all the bones you found. You got to sanitize them, leave them out to dry. And then you got to package them. And in all the times we provided skeletons for that professor up there in the Northeast, I think we may have missed 7 bones in total, and they were like small toe bones or something. He was amazed. He was like, "Y'all are great." He was like, "How do you do this?" And I was like, "A wire sieve and a whole day." He was like, "Y'all are great." You know, this is just what you do when you live in the country and you need money. You see a gray fox on the road and it's not messed up and it's fresh, you stop and pick that up because that's a $45 pelt. Plus, those little bones are great for jewelry, necklaces, and other things. Some people still take bones to make turkey calls and other things out of. Some people still use bones to make needles and stuff out of. We still live in a pretty primitive area here. So, you never know what you might need, so we just pick it up. Back in the day when we would turtle fish, now the laws on turtles changes quite often. Alligator snapping turtles are protected always, but the common brown snappers you can catch and eat. And boy, let me tell you what, they'll take over a pond. They'll eat the fish and the ducks. Them turtles will eat everything. They're like dinosaurs that are just cruising for a bruising. When you pull them out of the water, it's like WWE air horn. You better get ready to rumble. They come out ready to fight. But they got 7 types of meat on them, and they're real good. You have to boil them, then bread them and fry them. Otherwise, the meat's too tough. That's the ticket to a good turtle. But then you keep the shells, and you clean the shells and dry the shells. Why? Because people in California will pay $50 each to make a salad bowl out of it. And so there for a while, if we had people call and say, my pond is overrun with common brown snappers, will you come fish it? We'd go fish it. We don't do that much anymore because I can't get out and about, and David makes more money on the fur, so we don't do that much anymore. And the laws on turtles changed, so you just have to really stay on top of things. And so we haven't done that in years, but that was another thing we used to do back in the day. So y'all be careful on the road. I'm fixing to go back to bed, but let me tell you what. Don't discredit people that have these skills, and don't be so quick to jump. And I hope the woman changes her review. And, even though it was like 98% great, when you have a store like that, it's those one little things that people will notice. And when he messaged me on his lunch break to tell me that, I was like, how would she know if it's a real bone or not? She was ecstatic when she got it to actually figure out that, oh my God, it's actually a real fox face. She couldn't even tell in the picture. You can tell. Well, if you know hides, you can tell. But if she had questions about if it was really a real hide, even though it said authentic tanned, but then all of a sudden she became a professor of biology about the bones. It was just like, just left a question on Etsy. Okay, I'll have David. Yeah, I'll tell him at his next break. I don't know what time it is. I don't know. He gets breaks every like 3 or 4 hours. So I'll tell him to look at it and check it as soon as he gets a break. But he'll probably see that by the time he sees my message because he can't look at his phone until he's on break. So the only thing is that factory has been nice enough that if something ever happens to me, they have certain ways like dispatch, fire, and sheriff and stuff can get hold of people in the factory. And that's for like emergency notices for weather and stuff so that they can get the people quarantined and stuff. So if something ever happens to me, if I ever have to be airlifted out or ambulanced out, they always have left an avenue for the emergency squads to get in touch with David. So, the factory's been good to us. I can't, and they understand how sick I am, and they've been sweet to us. So I can't fuss that much. But otherwise, he doesn't get to see his phone except for breaks. So, yeah, he's working his butt off this week. He's been working, lots of times he works like double time. Like he works basically 2 weeks in a week. And it's just because I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but nobody else wants to work anymore. And half the people that do work aren't sober, can't pass a drug screen, so they'll work until they get drug screened or the threat of a drug screen, and then they'll vanish. So David's been there for several years, and I think that's why they're so good to us, is they know he's a good, solid worker and a good, solid man. But I hate when what he does and what he puts his heart and soul into, I hate when people, I don't know, it's just like they just have to belittle and dig. And it's like, communicate with us. Like, we're on Etsy. Like, if you go look through our reviews on Etsy, people like, I feel like I just bought from a friend. We talk. We like to talk. We know the quality of the items we're mailing to you. We're not afraid. We're not going to disappear. We want you to come back and buy more. We want you to let us know if you have a problem. A lot of people will order stuff and then be like, oh crap, I forgot what this was again on this item. We're happy to tell you, you know, but to have someone not respond to any messages, I don't know, and then just all of a sudden want to be like, oh, and this was not real. And I'm just like, lady, I wish I could like wiggle my nose and give the entire world the knowledge that I had in my head. Yeah, I mean, and Gypsy, you know, we talked the hind leg off a mule, but if you go and look at our reviews, all our reviews are like, well, we feel like we bought from a friend. And half the time, like if I package it, I will send a handwritten note and sneak you something else in the box, because that's just the way I roll. That's just the way I am. And David is always, his concern is getting it there. And we, because he works, we ship on like Mondays and Fridays. And so if you order on a Friday night, it's not going to ship until Monday morning. And that's because we live in Podunk, Appalachia. We only have one postal service that's open on Saturdays, and it is flogged and it has steps. And so I don't do the steps, and David has to work Saturdays most of the time. So that's why we do Monday and Friday shipping, so that David can do it on his way to work. And I don't have to get stuck trying to go up them stairs, because it's just not a good thing. And the ramp is like 10 miles long. It's like, do I want to hike to Egypt or climb Mount Everest? Let me choose one, guys. I'm disabled. I can't do either very well. And so this was ordered on like a Friday. Right before we went to work on Friday, he's like, I've got to work. He's like, I've got all this other stuff I've got to do. He's like, try to box it and I'll mail it Monday. And I said, okay, that's fine. Because if we swing by, we will get it out earlier, you know, because we like to get it in the mail. And, but it was well within our shipping time that we leave, because we leave ourselves a larger shipping time because of his job. And because we know that those are dedicated days that he can stop. And it was well within the shipping time. It was like actually 4 days before the end, you know, that we give ourselves. We give ourselves like a 5 to 7 day shipping. And she reduced the stars on the shipping. And I was like, it shipped before the due date. And it was real authentic bone. I hope she sees the message and she reviews and redoes her review. But, and the thing is the videos they allow you to upload on Etsy are so short, you can't do any information in them. Like, you can't, you know. And that's why we try to talk so much and talk so much. The only negative review we've gotten is from that one guy that I had to report to Etsy. And after we had gotten done looking him up, he had like more than 7 fake email profiles logged on to Etsy, but he owned one like eBay or Etsy store, but he owned 3 physical tanneries out west in 3 states. But like where he got his kicks was going online, because ever since the Ukraine went down, that's where all the tanneries in the world were located. If you don't know this, let me tell you this. In Ukraine is where the most of the tanneries in the whole world were located. Ukraine. It's dirty work. A lot of people over there are generationally trained. It's a big export item over there, fur. So people send fur and it comes back, it gets tanned. So when Ukraine started having all this trouble, people started trying to find other people to tan stuff. And so David has gotten more business because people are looking for fur because it's not as plentiful in the last few years since all this Ukraine crap started. Which is nice, but he's just one man show and he does it all by hand. So it's, he can only do so much. But the man that had these 3 physical sites out west and had an Etsy store, an eBay store, and all these Shopify store. I mean, he had like every platform that's legal on, because some platforms, even though it's not illegal, they'll be like, we will not allow you to sell taxidermy or fur products. It's just like, I don't know. And he was going on and he would buy one thing from every small fur businessman and then leave a scathing review that everything I purchased was rotten or written. And that really, that almost made my husband quit Etsy. And so I, with my law enforcement background, started going after the man online. And by the time I finished giving Etsy information on him, they were like, well, we're probably going to have to tell him he can't be on this platform. And they were like, because he is basically going around buying something, but then lying, saying he's bought multiple things, leaving horrible reviews, and then sending everybody to the shops on Etsy that he owns or the 3 physical locations that he owns, but he's acting like various customers. And Etsy was very upset, and they were like, man, that took some time for you to figure that out. And I said, it took about 4 hours one night when I was really mad. I was like, I have way too much training to be upset and left alone with the internet. It's way too much. And they were really nice, though. It's been the one time that I've actually had to have an actual liaison conversation with them through email. And they were really nice about it. So it was really strange. But they said that's become a thing with fur shops all over the internet, is they're all trying to reestablish as, I'm going to take all the business. But why even try to jack up a guy that is a small time, does it all by hand, and has no machinery? Why would you even think he could compete with your physical locations that can pump out the fur, that has machines that shave them all, machines that do all the work, but there's no human touch to it? It just, why would you think that you have to go through all the time? And even he bought an otter hide on. Why would you even waste the money and buy an otter hide to do that, knowing that one man only tans what he traps and in no way can compete with your business platform? But y'all, people are weird. People are weird. People are mean. Never in my life. But now, I guarantee you, if I put something on something, it's authentic, unless you've asked for sparkle or you've asked for something like that. And I will tell you exactly what's on anything that's made if I've made it. But all David's fur is his deal. But if you watch my husband's channel, which is Trapper Dave Waters, a few weeks ago, he walked past a deer carcass and he was like, my wife will make me come back and get that in a few more weeks. And daggum Skippy, it's laying on the ground. You're going to go back and get it. You're going to get me the ribs. You're going to get me the shoulders. And probably the vertebrae. Because those are things that I can use. And that poor deer that somebody... And what it is we live on a crossover road that is... We're not super rural. My parents are super way back at the end of the road, at the end of the road, at the end of the road, at the end of the road where the cattle are. I am not super rural, but I'm in a crossover spot that's kind of hemmed with farmland to where it's just kind of a doldrum spot. And people will use the crossover roads to throw deer carcasses, the coyotes and the eagles and the hawks and stuff that eat them, and drag them around for a while. But that's okay, because it just draws up more stuff for, David to run through the trap lines on the property, so it's okay. But you daggum Skippy, I'll go back and pick up them bones. clean them puppies out. I ain't gonna buy no bone off Amazon.com. I'm not. If bones cost that much, I've got a freaking gold mine laying over there under the power line road where the coyotes drag everything. I'm gonna start fitting the coyotes for their deer carcasses. You're gonna see me out and growling and hanging on to the deer carcasses and pulling them out of coyotes' mouths. WWE SmackDown, Appalachia style. Boy, that irritated me though. That irritated me. Because we really try to keep stuff as authentic as possible, as down home as possible, as simple as possible. And we really try to talk. And this woman just had not responded. And every time that I get somebody that won't message me back, I'm like, oh, dear Jesus. Oh, dear Jesus. Oh, and because I know it's going to be somebody that has no clue about what they're purchasing, but is going to have 5,000 problems when they get it. And you find one, about one every 10 sales, you find one. And it's just like, and we really want purchases to be special. And that's why I sneak in handwritten notes if I package your item, because I really appreciate it. And if I've made something that is like it's new, or I'm trying something out, or I want feedback on something, I'll stick one in the box and say, try this out and give us feedback. We appreciate your business. And people get tickled with that. I like to get free crap in the mail. My God, doesn't everybody? Ed McMahon never showed up on my porch. I'd have kissed that man square on the mouth if he had. But, we like to give, little tidbits away when we have a little bit extra, or we've tried to make something new and we want feedback on it. And lots of times we send, probably double monetary what you purchased, just because we make it all ourselves, so we can flex more than most people. It's all made out of stuff that we've found in nature. And I'm gonna start being more careful. And when I get these people that don't communicate and leave negative reviews, I would rather block people and never have them come and purchase anything ever again if they're just gonna fuss about it, and then take a penny from them. I would rather go without and block them than to ever take another penny from. I'm made that way. I will sit down, cross my arms, and stick my chin out and my nose up and wait you out, And but I feel real bad for Dave, because he was scared to take this venture onto the internet. I am stubborn. I'm a big stubborn baby. I need to be a big old pacifier. But I feel really bad because David it was a big step for him to go on the internet, because he is not the most outspoken man. He's quiet. He's good in the woods. If you got a bellyache, you need medicine, he'll walk into the woods with a pick and come back out with a handful of roots, and you'll be fine in about 30 minutes. But when it comes to speaking to people on the internet and being super social, the man is just, it's taken me 20 years to curate what you see on his channel. 20 years of marriage to curate what you see. Now, I ain't never had fear of getting up in front of people and speaking. My daddy was a preacher. I was singing on the radio when I was little. I was singing in front of congregations. I was going to 30 church services in 30 nights. I did more high school homework and church pews than I did at home. So I've never had a fear of crowds, because it's just I was always thrown up in front of one. So I never have cared. And then the jobs I've had, I just don't have a lot of fear. My husband's a very quiet man, and he's a very stoic man, and he's a very proud man. And he would rather hand something to someone who will look at it and say, yeah, your name right then, than try to take 5,000 pictures and communicate 5,000 times and pay shipping to send it across the freaking to have people turn up their nose and say, falsehoods. And he has really only taken the venture to go on the internet because my health got so bad, and my second insurance, so that if I get hospitalized or something, we don't end up with a a huge bill that we can't ever pay. It's so expensive every month. That's what pushed him to go onto the internet and start to really push his fur and get out there. And 9 times out of 10, he gets a lot of positive feedback, and people, we've got most of our customers are repeat customers, and they will just send messages to check in between purchases. I really enjoy it. I enjoy it. David even enjoys it. He's got a lady that bought his trinket boxes that he made from the beaver chew logs that works for a beaver relocation project. They've struck up the oddest friendship. It's adorable. You meet good people, in the strangest ways. But these bad encounters, it's hard on people. It's hard on people. And it's especially hard on the people that can't just go to Hobby Lobby and buy something else and say, oh, I made this and throw it up on the internet. It sometimes takes us weeks to craft what we put on the internet to sell. Weeks. Like y'all saw me make the gnomes this year, but you didn't see for weeks before that David tanning hides, David collecting wood, David cutting the pieces of wood, David prepping everything for me. You didn't see me searching for the homespun fabrics and making sure that I had the good twine that was thick and didn't have all that chemical crap on it. You just, and before I bought those Christmas buttons, I went down and begged my mama for her button tin, but she wasn't having it because she's got buttons from the 1940s and 50s from Granny. And she was like, you ain't taking my buttons. I begged my mama for her sugar cookie button tin. I said, I will buy it off of you, Mom. Let me have your old buttons. Yeah, that was a no-go. That was a no-go. So I did buy the wooden Christmas buttons on eBay to just put on the gnomes hats because I thought every once in a while they needed something a little special. But it takes us a while working with fur to prepare and do everything. But y'all, it's authentic. And we'll tell you where it came from. Like if we do a fur swap with that guy in North Dakota, we'll tell you what it is, where it came from. We get really excited when we do fur swaps with other tanners because we enjoy working with fur that we don't regularly see. Like I thought that badger fur was beautiful. And all those badger reindeer sold, and I kind of was hoping one of them wouldn't so I could keep one for my own Christmas decor, but both of them sold, but they were gorgeous. But it's just stuff that, we get excited because we only have certain animals here. And so when we can see the other hides, it's exciting for us too, just like it's exciting for y'all. Y'all, the yaks were beautiful. I have one yak left, and he is currently listed on Etsy. And he's the big wired hat one, so you can make his hat move in any direction you want to. And matter of fact, he's sitting right there. And I love him, but I can't. I've got a small house. I can't keep everything. But I don't know. David is, he took a leap of faith and had a bunch of stuff done for garment quality because so many people had wanted garment quality beaver and coyote and raccoon. So he took a leap of faith and did a few garment quality beaver and raccoon. But like 99.9% of what you see, my husband's hands have worked on for 2 to 3 weeks. The green hat, yeah, he's beautiful, ain't he? Oh my gosh, yeah, I just look at him and go, he's just so pretty. That yak must have been pretty too. I think about that too. I'm like, that yak must have been real pretty too. We got some otter hide, and it's a different hide when it's from a different region. And so the otter hides from the Midwest are more like beaver hides down here because obviously it's colder, and they were so plush and thick and pretty. And I was so mesmerized by those otter hides from that guy from up in the Dakotas. And just the difference of the animals region to region is, I think, is very interesting. On our coyotes now, we're starting to see the lion's mane on the backs of their necks, which is normally only something seen on gray wolves. I think the gray wolves have already genetically spread south because we're starting to see a lion's mane on a lot of our coyotes that we don't normally see. And that's normally predominantly a wolf thing. So I have questions about that. We've got a couple of biologists at the UT wildlife place, and so every once in a while we can send in a bit of skin, a tooth, and some fur, and they can do some testing and kind of see what's been breeding in. So we try to do that sometimes. Hello, you caught me at the end. I'm about done. But I guess I don't know. Maybe I needed this to get me out of bed and get me fired up and feeling better. I don't know, but a couple of days I've not felt the best, but I'll get there. I'll perk back up eventually. They decided that I get the nursing care and then I get physical therapy 2 days a week. And by the time I went through my history and all my surgeries and all like my broken bones and damages, and the nurse was just looking at me like, "How are you still functioning?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I've had a rough life, but it's part of the course." Um, and with this colder weather and with the dampness going to damp to dry, I have to keep a lot of vaporizers in the house going because I have a scarred left lung from a little prison pepper spray event that I got caught in, locked down in when I was serving paperwork once. And I got chemical pneumonia and it scarred my left lung. So I've got a scarred left lung. So when these weather things go from 60 degrees to 40 degrees and then from 65 degrees to 20 degrees, and then like it did the other day, it was 57 here one day and then it was wind chill of negative 26 2 days later. That really hurts my lung, my left lung where it's scarred. And so I've constantly got kettles of water on the stove, or I've got those vaporizers or those cool mist vaporizers going. And this has already been a hard winter on me. My body is beyond broken down. And so I'm hoping with the physical therapy that I'm glad they opted to do it, but I'm hoping that I won't have to dig out of the winter in the spring, because normally by the time the winter has passed, I've kind of turned to stone through the winter from all the bone pain and the harsh conditions and the swelling, and it's just difficult. And so I'm hoping that this will help with my mobility through the winter so that I won't then spend all spring trying to dig my way back out to try to enjoy a little bit of summer and then to get prepared for winter again, because it's just not enjoyable. It's a cycle that I hate. And so I'm hoping that this does a lot for me this winter and I don't spring comes in, instead of taking 2 months to limber back up, my body will respond a little bit better. So, but they said that the strength in my hands was doing really good compared to what they had from the last test results and the last nerve conduction. They were like, "We're really happy with where your hands are." And it's from where I've been doing a lot of crafting. So it's all good. Good things do come, even though I whine about my hands hurting so much sometimes, I can tell that they're holding, and I don't the Parkinsonian tremor is not as loud as it used to be. It's not as present as it used to be. I know I want to get out and make memories this summer because I didn't. I got a couple out last year, but I didn't get out as much as I wanted to. It's like an act of Congress to get me out of this house. So it's an act of Congress for me to walk to the fur shed to or I literally would, like, if I could just follow him through the procedure of everything he makes that everybody could see it be made, I would. I legit would. It grossed some people out, but I would. But it's really frustrating when I don't know, it's like you just lay yourself bare out there online. And there are some people that the only reason they take notice is so they can come by and take a hit and take a swing. And it's like, "Oh, Claire, no, honey, you're been sick as I have. You don't worry about that." Me and Claire and Gypsy, we've all had about a 4-week ick spell. So, but we'll perk up here soon. One day when I feel good soon, because everybody's like, "What did you look like when you were counseling? When you were working for the state? What did you normally look like?" Because I look like such a heathen most of the time. When you see me, I look like I'm homeless half the time. And so I told David the other night, I said, when I feel good one day, I said, I'm going to doll myself up and let him see what I used to look like when I went to work. And he was like, well, I'd like to see that. He's like, I ain't seen you in makeup in forever. So as soon as I feel better, I'm going to doll myself up and do an educational video and let you all know the Miss Waters you would have seen had you walked into a professional setting and saw me at one of my desk jobs. Yeah, so I'm going to do that for you, and it'll be a shock and a hoot and a holler for some of you, and some of you be like, dang, she's got a split personality, because honestly, it very much is. My two worlds were so polar opposite. My professional from my home life were so polar opposite. And sometimes when my colleagues saw me on weekends or they would visit, I had a co-officer that I got really close with, her and her family, and she came to visit, and that was when we had the miniature horses and the donkeys and just little farm here. And she pulled up and she was like, the donkey was braying, the dogs were running around, the kids were hooping and hollering, and she was just like, yeah, you kind of live out here, don't you? And I'm like, I don't think I do, but she obviously thought I did. But it was funny because every time any vehicle pulled up our driveway, the donkey would go to braying, because he was, he needed to be a Walmart greeter in another life, I swear. He was the sweetest little thing. He had to go to a new cowgirl when my cowgirl outgrew him, because he was going to live for 40 years, and he would sit at the gate and weave back and forth and cry and bray for her. And she just got old enough to where it wasn't cool to hook him to his cart and pull, drive him and go 90 down the gravel roads when I told her not to. But I mean, she'd have that cart just a booking. He never would break pace. He's good. But she got old enough to where, FFA and college and boys and the big horses took her time. And it broke her heart, but we eventually sold him to a guy. He had come to buy the wagon, and his little girl looked like my daughter shrunk. And my donkey, Stormy, latched onto her and was like, oh my God, it's my girl. Looked just like my daughter. All over again. And when we went to load up that wagon in his trailer, he brought a big gooseneck to take that big wagon home. That daggum donkey jumped in. And I said, Stormy, get out of here. And he got out and he was like, I want to go too. And he got in there 3 or 4 times while we was talking. And that little girl would just laugh, and he would follow her around. He tried to put his nose in her pocket to see if she had grain, because Haley always had grain in her pockets. And finally, Haley walked up to me and she looked at me. And the guy had tried to buy him 3 or 4 times. And Haley walked up to me and she looked at me and just big old sad eyes, teenager, dating, fixing to go to college. She goes, Mom, let him go. He wants to go with that girl. So we sold him too. And he was Sven in the Cookville Christmas parade for the next few years, and that little girl was Elsa. He was sweet. He was also the donkey that carried Mary into the church play for like 7 years in a row, and then was in the petting zoo. And they could come and not even have to back into the barn. We would just say, get into the drive. We'd open the gate and let him out of the pasture. Like, he could have run off down the road wherever, and he would run, jump in the trailer, because he knew it was his time to shine. And he got to pack that woman in, have people look at him, and have kids pet him. And he was all about that. So he would run, jump in the trailer, and be like, be back in a couple hours, Mom. And before we sold him, I called the church and I said, y'all are going to have to find another donkey. I said, we're going to have to part ways with him. I said, he's pacing himself to death, worried because my kids won't have nothing to do with him. They've gotten too old. And I said, nobody around here. I said, because he was well trained. He was Amish broke trained, buggy trained, and he was a little stud. But he was he voice trained. Like you say, step up, step back. Yeah, he would not move. He was great. He was the best little thing. And no one around here could afford him, and nobody around here really wanted him. He would go in, and my daughter would show him at the fair during the mule days and the draft days, but all the carriages had to be in the same class. So my daughter and her mini Jack, and she would have to have an adult ride with her, so we got our skinniest friend to ride with her. And she'd take him in there, and I think she was 6 or 7 the first time she showed him at the fair. Her cart and donkey were smaller than the wheels on the carriages going next to her. And my mama heart was just like, Do not interrupt your children when they're doing dangerous things carefully. Do not interrupt your children when they're doing dangerous things carefully, because it's a life skill they need. And I knew she could handle herself, and I knew the other carriage handlers could handle themselves, so I let her show. And the judge would always place her in the top three, even though they'd have 10 to 12 in the class, and he would always be so impressed with her. And he was like, it doesn't flinch her when those big Belgians pass her and those big wheels are above her head. And I was like, I know, it terrifies me. But she had no fear. But by law, since he was a stud, she had to have an adult sit with her in the wagon. Because if it's a stud under 18, you can't show a stud in the state of Tennessee on your own. So we would always yell at Vanessa, who was a blacksmith, and she was normally at the shows anyway. And we would be like, she was 90 pounds soaking wet. We'd be like, will you sit next to Haley? Because if I had sat next to her, that poor little donkey would have had to work like, overtime. It wouldn't have been fair. So she showed him in the fair all those years, and then she'd ride him around the fairgrounds, giving rides to people the rest of the day. They were a duo, let me tell you. It was hard to break that duo up. But he would have mourned the loss of her when she got to college. We knew we had to find him a new kid. Because when an animal lives 40 years, and a kid might have 10 years that they're really going to devote to him before they grow out of him, you have to be prepared to part with that animal and give him a better life. And so he's on his second or third other little girl now. I know he got through two. I don't know if the third youngest one that was just a baby, I think the woman was pregnant when she bought him. I don't know if she's actually old enough to be driving him yet or not, but she will be. So he'll have taken three more little girls through the joys of owning a miniature donkey that can pull a cart. So he was gorgeous. I've got pictures. I need to do it. I'm sure I've shared pictures of him before in one of my photography shares, but I need to share pictures again. He was beautiful. He was a little stinker, but he was beautiful. She could lay him down. She would always do this thing where she would lay him down, and then she would sit on him and hold her dogs, or put her cats on her shoulders and take pictures. Or she would ride her ponies, and she would put her cats behind her on the ponies' butts and ride the ponies around. And so she would break ponies, and we would sell the ponies. And when people would come to buy the ponies, they would see this little lanky teenage girl, 11, 12, 13-year-old girl, just going everywhere on these little ponies with a cat hanging on the butt behind her, like, we go for a ride. And if she was in the cart, she normally had a cat or dog sitting next to her. So we sold quite a few ponies there for a while when she was in that phase. But it was always funny because the cats, then it got to where if she got on the animal, the cats would just come and jump on. And so all the ponies would just stand there like, ain't enough, I got to pack a human, I got to pack that fur ball too. But they were used to it, so they didn't care. But everybody got the biggest kick out of that. They come to our house and see my daughter get on a pony, and then here come a cat running and jump up on that horse's butt. And they would be like, oh, Lord, here comes a rodeo. And nothing would happen. I would be like, oh, the cats ride with her all the time. And they were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's strange. But we had one pony, a really special cremella pony that we named Cream Corn. And it took us a couple years before we parted with her, because we were really hoping to we were really trying to get a little chocolate Palomino out of her. We really were hoping. But she was just a ham. Like, she would come up to you and make faces for you to take pictures. She was just a ham. And we named her Cream Corn because she was the color of cream corn. She was a cremella, and she looked like a bowl of cream corn that your grandma had boiled too long. And she was a sweetie pie. And she went to some really special people in the next county over, and she has now taken two little girls to the Saddle Club. So, but I still get, like, I tell people, I still get Christmas cards from people that I sold horses to and ponies to and stuff. So we've had a good life, but we're authentic. Believe me, if I put a bone on something, it comes from something that either my husband trapped, or that he found a carcass, and I said, go back and get this, and this for me. He'll go back and get it, and then we boil it and clean it and sanitize it. Because I ain't going to waste money that's laying on the road I'm not going to waste it. Not going to waste it. It's free money. Well, yeah, I mean, there ain't no sense in buying fake ones when I've got 4 or 5 deer carcasses laid over there that the coyotes dragging around. I'm just waiting for the sun to bleach them and finish drying them out. Because if I let the sun bleach them longer, then when I boil them, the corpse wax boils out quicker and they don't change color. There's a method to my madness. That's why I leave them lay. That, and because during the winters, the squirrels and stuff need to eat some for calcium. Because if squirrels run out of net storage or stuff like that, they will eat bones and antlers. So I don't really take a lot until the spring. And that allows them to weather the corpse wax, to leak out the sun, to have bleached everything and got the corpse wax out. And that way, when I have to boil them and clean them, I have a much easier, well, I say David has a much easier job on his hands. And I don't mind the imperfections if something has gnawed on it or bit it, or, it just, to me, it adds to it for what I normally use it for. So I don't mind the imperfections. But I will always be surprised when I send out an authentic item and all of a sudden somebody becomes an archaeologist or a biologist or a veterinarian and tries to tell me something I sent them's fake. And I'm like, I know it ain't, because I stood over its carcass and said, I want that bone and that bone and that bone and that bone. And my husband said, okay, hang on, okay. Watch out for spiders, because we have to go out in the sagebrush in the fields. That they drag them to the edge of the fields and where they run, the coyotes, and so we have to follow the coyote trails. And that's normally when we go, is when you have to duct tape your britches and spray yourself down so you don't get ticks. It's the nastiest time of year to go fetch them, but it's the best time of year for the bone. Oh gosh, Faith, I've been talking about some nitty gritty bone acquisition from carcasses and making handmade stuff and being upset about somebody thinking I sent them a fake bone on an item in Etsy. And I'm like, why would I send you a fake bone? I don't even know where to buy a fake bone, but apparently people have told me they sell them on Amazon. But it's like I sent you a authentically tanned fox face, hand laced leather medicine bag purse. And for some reason on the review, she said, but the bone is fake. And I thought, no, it's not. I picked it up off the carcass myself. And so then I had to message David, who had to go and leave a response to the review. And then he had been trying to message this woman ever since she bought it, but she just has not messaged. And in her response, she said that Etsy won't let her message people for some reason. And I'm like, make up a better excuse. I mean, if you're going to blow smoke up my butt, do a good job. But it's just like, that it irritates me because David works so hard at what he does. And we are so country and so authentic, and it bugs me that people think that we would go through the trouble to tan that fox hide, make that bag, and then buy a bone from Amazon. I mean, if I've seen the fox and the thing that I got the leather, to make off, don't you think I've got enough bones laying in my backyard to put a bone? It just, it's comical now. David handles things much better than I can. I get really irritated because it challenges my husband and the authenticity of what he does. And I know how hard he works, so it irritates me. So I get irritated. But I'm also just starting to feel better, so I'm easily irritated right now. But at least I've ate today. I don't know if I just had a cat jump on my front porch or a dog walk on, or last year, if you live with me at one point, we had a black bear come on the front porch. Not looking forward to it. That better not happen this year. I don't know. Probably going to have to check and see what's on the front porch. Yeah, it's pretty big. I need to check. Anyway, I'm going to check. I've been sick. I had that heart issue about a month ago, and then the stomach flu. It's been a rough month, and I got sick again about the time I thought I was getting better. I think I overdid it, had all those nurse appointments to start the home health, and just went downhill again. And last night was really rough, but today I've done better, and I've actually had some yogurt and stuff today, so I think I'm pulling back out of it. So I'm hoping that here in a couple days I'm up and going a little bit more. Them stupid black bears want to sit in your patio seats, and it's like, get your fat butt out of my patio seats. They barely hold me. Get out. I didn't buy them for you. Get makes me so mad. And it's like, you're 400 pounds and you want to eat special, kitty. We need to have a talk. But I had a juvenile on my front porch last year, and I opened the door and we both looked square at each other. What are you doing? Well, Oscar's excited, so he says it's something I need to check out. So it's okay. I got a 223 by the door. I'm going to go check and see what's on the front porch, and then I'm going to lay back down. I know I look like a train wreck, but I am feeling better. If you buy from the Etsy store, please be a communicator, because we love communicators. We want you to be family. We want you to feel like you can contact us at all times and ask us any questions. And please know that if I put anything that's not like authentic on there, I will give you a rundown in the description or in the message. I'll give you a rundown about that item, because David has worked his butt off. I want to brag on every point I can for my husband. So please be a communicator, because we are big time communicators, and we want to be able to just like reach out and just really feel like we've made a friend when we have a customer. And we want you all to feel like you can message us at any time. But every time I get somebody that won't message, because I always, as soon as I make the sale, David or me will message and thank you and tell you that as soon as it's shipped, tracking will be provided. If you have any questions, let us know. And then we normally do a check-in the morning that we're going to ship. Then we provide the tracking, and then we try to check in about the time it should arrive. And so we try to really be a little heavy-handed on the communication. And I'm getting real leery of these people that don't ever message you back. Real leery of them. But if I could find a better platform, I think I would. But I don't know of any other better platform. And because we don't have all the shipping, like we don't have anywhere to UPS or FedEx from here, we'd have to drive almost an hour. So we have to do everything through the USPS. And so that's also a big thing that controls where we sell from and what platforms we use. So, and I try to let David, I have to help him, but I try to let him figure it out, because if something happens to me, he has to be able to continue this. But it hurts his heart when he works on something like he worked on that fox hide for, it takes about a week, sometimes more for a tanning process, this old way that he does it. And so he's been with these animals a lot. By the time he finishes them, he gets kind of attached to them, and he wants them to go to good places that, we don't want our hides just to go and be trashed somewhere. We want them to go and be respected and displayed and enjoyed. And it hurts when he gets people that thinks that he's inauthentic or he's done something deceptive, or, because he's honest. Well, he's straight as an arrow. And so it bothers him, but it pisses me off because I'm a butthole. I'll feel better soon. There's been a lot that I've wanted to address, but I'm just so sick I have to pick where my energy goes. But it's a good sign that I'm feeling good enough to not to be aggravated. It's a real good sign. So I'm sure David will be happy. He'll come home and see that I've been on the internet. He'll be like, thank God you're feeling better. Because if I'm feeling good enough to sit here and fuss about something, I'm feeling better. But the first day I feel really good, I'll doll myself up and put on all my old court clothes. I don't have any of my old uniforms because you have to turn all those back in. But I'll put on what I would wear to court or what I would wear in my counseling office, and I'll doll up. And I'll let you see what I used to look like if you came and met me in any of my professional careers. Revlon and Maybelline had a lot of flaws. But I thought that might be something, because I watched Dr. Latina and Allegedly Innocent the other night, Dr. Jules, and they're so beautiful. And I remember when I used to look very similar to them and go to work. And I was like, I probably need to, if I'm going to do my psycho rants, I probably need to dress myself back up and present myself in a professional manner again. So that y'all do know I can look like a professional. I just don't care to waste the money on the makeup or anything anymore. But oh well, thank you, Faith. But it's, I think it'd be kind of fun one day to go back through the motions of it and see what emotions it brings out in me to act like I'm preparing for a work day again. Now, I had always kept short hair because I dealt with violent teens or violent offenders. So you don't ever want a handlebar on your head. So I can't cut my hair, but I can put my makeup and stuff back on and put my clothes on and let you kind of know what I look like if you were to walk in on me in my professional life. Way back when in the Paw Paw Patch. Oh, you always thought, bless your heart, you always thought I'd fit right in. I think Jules is, I love her demeanor. She's very approachable and very easy to talk to. And we do a lot back and forth in the comment section. I really respect her train of thought. The engine in her brain, the way it cranks, it's similar to mine. I really appreciate the way she thinks. Dr. Latina, sometimes I have to try, it's like I'm nipping at her heels trying to keep up because that woman's just, she's sharp. And I get so much knowledge when I watch them, you know, and I've got a lot of useless knowledge trapped in this brain that I paid a lot of money for that I can't, you know, but even I learn stuff when I watch them. And so I'm always telling people, go watch these channels, especially Allegedly Innocent. She does a lot of the true crime stuff, but she talks you through the psychology. Like she'll go through the news information and what's being said and kind of go through the psychology of it and look at it from a practitioner's viewpoint. But then she'll also look at it from like a curiosity spectator, what the crap human, you know, perspective. And she just has a really great way of communicating. So those, you know, those are two channels I would definitely check out if I were you. They're so much smarter than, like, somebody was like, get in the panel with them. And I was like, well, I was too sick the other night. I didn't even make it through the whole show. I need to go back and finish it. But I would not have been any help. Like those two brains, no, I could not have brought anything to the floor. No, y'all were in the best of hands. And oh yeah, they're great. I love them both. But I may do a little codependency, because somebody asked about that. I may do a little codependency exercise education video and doll up friends as soon as I feel better. So we will all look forward to that, because I've looked like hot trash for a while now. So look at these bags. But I think I'm about to get through this. Feel good enough to be sassy tonight on the warpath. It's a good sign, y'all. It's a really, really good sign. And on a bonus, I'm like way less than I have in a decade. So I'm just a couple stomach flus away from, you know, my pre-knee surgery weight. No, I'm not. Oh my God. I'd have to lose half my butt to be back to my pre-knee surgery weight. But it didn't hurt. It definitely didn't hurt me to lose a few pounds, but it sure hurt the way I had to lose them. So let's hope that I don't do this again anytime soon. This was really bad, and as all my nurses have said, why didn't you go to the hospital? Because they're so daggum far away, and it's such a hiatus to have to get there. And then I don't know the doctors, and they look at me, and they don't know my issues, and they don't understand my disorder, and it's just, at some point you just like let me puke and die in my own bed. You know, it's just, you're there, you know. And but I really do like my nurse. She's the sweetest little thing. Now, if I ever have to fall and she has to pick me up, we're screwed. But I know she'll call and get help. But she's the sweetest little thing. But the physical therapy dude is quite the hoss. So I'm sure that he'll have me being into shape real soon, because he was pretty adamant that he was going to improve my range of motion quite a bit this winter. So I expect that he will put me through my paces. And we may not be each other's favorite person for a while, but I think I have a good team. And so all the money that we pay on this insurance, if y'all were with me last year for the whole insurance bobble, oh my God, it was really a good decision. And all the money that we paid to make sure I can afford my medicines and afford my doctors and the hospitalizations and now the at-home care, it has been well worth it. But it was a mess. Yeah, Denise, you were with it. It was a mess. Last year was a mess. Oh, and I have got in touch with my quilt lady, And she had been really sick too. She's never sick. I really want to interview her one day and let y'all meet her, because she is like salt of the earth, good old woman. Like, you trust this woman with your life. And that's all she's ever done is quilt and hand stitch and sew. She's great. She's beautiful. She's got the most beautiful hair. She's just, if you think of hard Appalachia woman, and I think that's beautiful. I think she's beautiful. And I want to interview and let y'all meet her. But she's called me. She's like, I'm back at it. I've got one done, and I'm on the other one now. And I was like, okay, we're good. I was like, it's okay. I got really sick too. And she's like, I feel so bad I let you down. And I said, you've not let me down. I said, you got sick. And I said, I understand that so much better than anyone else does. So the peacock broken star quilt, I had her take that fleece off the back because Haley said, it's too hot. And if you've heard the story about the quilt, you know that. And I had her put a regular back on it and a new border and binding and backing. And so it basically would be brand new, because I think Haley displayed it maybe 7 times. It was never slept under. It was a display quilt to go over your bed when you made your bed. She wouldn't sleep under it because the first time she tried, it was too hot. So it became a display quilt. And I had put it in a cedar chest and literally forgot I had it. And it is, she was a purple child. And if you've ever seen her room in a video, there's still a purple wall I've got to paint. She just graduated from college last May, and I refused to redo her room until she was out of college. I know for me it was just, I don't know, I didn't want to like break the spell of her childhood or something. But I will have a broken star quilt, and it's a peacock umber quilt. It looks like a peacock fan. That's the colors. And it was back in the day when I cared and bought good fabrics and could do good detail work and had time. Those days have passed. That ship has sailed. But it is probably the second most detailed I've ever done. And it is a king. It's actually it's like a large king. And then I've got Jamie's quilt because Jamie kept me in jelly all year. So I owe Jamie her quilt. So Jamie's quilt is done and waiting, but I'm going to pick them up together on the same day because I can't go out twice. I have Medicare that I have to pay that $10 for. More than I should have to pay for. And then I have to have the supplement. And then I have 2 pharmacy plans. And then I have a vision plan, because this RSD is just taking everything away from me. So I have the Medicare and all the fees with that. And then I have a secondary that works with it, because the Blue Cross Blue Shield at my husband's work was not working well with it at all. And it was very expensive. So for like 2 or 3 months, we had to pay 2 premiums and deductibles and stuff. And because we have to request to be terminated from one and request to be picked up from the other. And they overlapped with the paperwork. So we had to pay 2. So he was having to pay out of his check for my insurance that he had on me that wasn't working well. And I'd had to start paying for the supplemental that I needed that would work well. And it's close to $500 a month. And so we pay a lot, but normally, now the last 2 years I've been lucky, but normally I would have 4 to 5 hospitalizations in a year. So, it can get rather expensive if I don't have the 2 so that I am 100% covered after my deductible. So it helps us out because we just know we have to meet that deductible, and then everything drops. I have a solid rate on my medicines, unless it's certain stomach medicines, and hospitalizations and tests and stuff are 100% after that small deductible. So I pay out the yin yang every month because I know I'm going to end up in the hospital. And when I do, I end up there repeatedly for a while. And it's just safer for us, And David's insurance, it was Blue Cross Blue Shield at work, but it sucks. Like, he had 1 kidney stone and had 1 bag of fluid, 1 Toradol shot, and 1 CT. And after they billed insurance, they still billed us $6,500. And that's when we found out the HRA account was being billed inappropriately. And somebody had made off with $6,000 that was supposed to be in his HRA account. So the factory had to go through everything, and the last June went back to an HSA. And so that's been better. And he puts so much in his HSA account so that he can pay for, like, he's got Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, so he has to have checkups and stuff ever so often. So he puts money in there so he can keep up with that. And, you know, and it's just, you know, we don't have a lot of extras when you live here, but we don't have a hospital. Everything's more expensive. They nickel and dime you to death with health stuff and Medicare stuff and medical stuff. And, you know, and it's because we're out in the boonies and they can. And, I would love to, my big thing is I want to write a paper on how people in Appalachia are really just milked monetarily, financially. You know, and everybody thinks, oh, everyone in those areas are poverty stricken or are on Medicaid. No, we're not. There's a whole lot of us that are just above the poverty line that don't get crap. And it makes it the hardest life possible. Because you get no wage, you get no help, everybody turns their nose up at you, you're not accessible for anything. And it's like, I've got one set of neighbors. Neither one of them have ever worked. Ever. The little woman gets up, and even though she's never worked, she'll go to the GED center and sit for like 20 hours a week so that she can get on every program that is state funded that she can get paid for. And I know that they have more free cash in their home a month than we do. You know, and they get food aid, medical, everything. And it's like, man, we need to revamp the system because people that try should be aided for people that don't. Now, I'm sorry, I'm hard-nosed, and I know that there are some people that can't. And yes, you always take care of the people that cannot. But the people that just never try, let them get hungry. They might try. So, you know, we just have to be real careful. Yeah, Claire, it's in between David, mine, and then the secondary, and then all my medications. It's pathetic. Blue Cross Blue Shield has fallen to crap. It's crap now. That's what it is, crap. It's crap. So it was the spur of the moment to hop on here. That's probably why you just didn't get a notification. I've just been ranting. I just feel good enough to feel bad. But I am feeling better. And I know I'm feeling better because I feel bad. And I got mad. So I know I'm feeling better. So last night was rough. So I hope I sleep good tonight. But I'm going to get off here and check and see the damage on the porch and see what that was. And then go back and lay back down because I'm getting tired. My eyes are starting to droop again. But I'm healing. It's just very slow. But I do have my nurse care now. And the physical therapy dude swears he's going to just whip me into shape. we may be in a fight here soon. But yeah, that Creon, mine was like $2,100 a month. And they won't accept insurance, private pay. I mean, they're mean. To hold the key to someone's life, someone's organs functioning, and make it that expensive and then say, oh, and by the way, we won't accept it. It's like, there should be laws against that. But then again, you know, a capitalist society is always the best society as far as maintaining affordability and a good barter system at the base. But what we're falling into in this nation is scary. And, you know, and it used to be it didn't matter what happened outside of these hills. We couldn't tell if we was in a recession or not because we just support you. Just nothing ever changed. It was you were always squeaking by. And these people here trying to buy seed sets for next year that are like, we can't find them. You know, people that have generational farms that for hundreds of years have prepared in the winter for the next season planting. And they're like, we can't find what we need. Yeah, and the people in the sticks can't find something. It's bad. That's why I've been telling everybody, you better get you a bag of seed taters. You better start buying you some heirloom quality seeds. You better get ready to put you out some container gardens for some veggies, or put you out a fur somewhere, at least one row of something to nibble on. Because I don't believe we're going to have a very good run. I don't believe we're going to have a very good year next year. Yeah, Blue Cross wanted to deny everything on me. And it was because I didn't have MS. Well, no, I don't have MS. I have RSD. I have reflex sympathetic dystrophy. And it's like, I can't help you if you're ignorant. Just because you don't know about my disorder does not mean it doesn't matter and you don't have to pay for the services I need. But that was their perspective. So we had to make a bunch of changes last year, and the state investigator I spoke to basically told me, yeah, somebody fraudulently billed the HRA account, which we had not even officially opened up, and made off with almost $6,500. But he's like, I can't get that money back for you. He's like, I might be able to find the people if I can figure out who was at the root responsible. But the factory was like, well, we're not playing this game. So the new owners went back to HSA, and it's better. But it's just not as much money in the account. So we have to be careful. So he can't put as much money and have it matched. So we have a lot more out-of-pocket expense. He puts the maximum amount in there that he can match, that they'll match, but it's not as much as the HRA. So we just have to be careful. So, no, seeds are getting bad. Monsanto owns them all. There's a woman from India, Dr. Shiva or Viva, or she's a little old woman. She's so smart. Look her up. Russell Brand talks about her all the time. She will tell you exactly who's behind the seed epidemic, and knock on wood, his name's Bill Gates. She will tell you what they're doing. And so for the last several years, I've been learning to barter with like all these old farms in my area for their seeds that they get off of their stock, and they've had seeds for hundreds of years. They don't buy seeds, they harvest their own. And so I've got heirloom seeds put back, but you can only stay about 2, maybe 3 years ahead, because then the seeds give out. So that's a scary thought when you think about it. If crap hits the fan, you got 2, maybe 3 years of sustenance you can put in the ground yourself, if you can get it to grow, if you have the weather and Mother Nature and everything working with you. And that's hard even on a country person. I think it's going to get bad. Denise, good. Yeah, you have to get creative sometimes with them. You have to get creative. I know they tried to keep Granny in the nursing home last year when Mom was trying to have her moved to home health and hospice. And they wanted to keep her because during the COVID spell, they was getting so much more for them every month. And we wanted her home because they kept locking the doors. And we would only get to see her when she'd end up at the ER, the hospital 2 counties over, because they wouldn't take her water. She's bedbound. You have to hold her water. So the only thing was they were not giving her water, and her bowels were locking up. And she would back up and bruise in her back, and she almost ruptured. And so she ended up in the hospital 3 times. And the 3rd time she was so bruised and her rectum had almost ruptured, and the hospital had to take pictures to prove it wasn't their damage. So by golly, I said, Mom, you get your butt in there and you take pictures too. And I said, you send them to me. And when they got her sent back to the nursing home, got her through and got her better and got her sent back to the nursing home, Mom started saying, we want her sent to home health. We want to transfer her. And they acted like Mom had no say. Mom was power of attorney. And so I contacted the Tennessee State Board of Health. And I got to the top dog, created an email exchange with her, built up a little bit of trust. And then I called her one day and I said, hey, while we're on the phone, I said, I just want to send you an email to show you some photos of my grandmother the last time she was sent from your facility that you do not appropriately monitor, even though people have reported issues. I said, and I want you to look at these photos and just tell me what you think while I've got you on the line. She goes, oh, okay, sure. And I sent, and she didn't know, but Tennessee's a one consent state. So as long as one person is giving consent, they can record. Well, I was recording all of this with my iPad, and had it on speaker. I was recording it all, and I heard it chime, and I said, "Oh, you got it." I said, "Go ahead and click on it." She clicked on it, and she goes, "Oh." I said, "Yes, ma'am, that was my grandmother this last time that she was taken from your facility, where she's supposed to be receiving the best of care while the doors are locked and family can't come in." I said, "Now, she was never like this when my mother could come in every day and hold her water and take care of her and make sure she was fed." I said, "But the nurses," I said, "they keep telling us, well, we have water stations in the hallway." I said, "How is a bed-bound patient supposed to get to a water station in the hallway?" I said, "Now, I'm not Einstein, but I think we can all figure out what's going on here." I said, "So while I've got you on the phone," I said, "I just also want to remind you that Tennessee is a one-side consent recording law." And I said, "I've been recording our conversation." I said, "I have active acknowledgement that you've received these photos and seen them and that they are very damning." And I said, "Should you choose to not allow my mother to transfer her to home health hospice and try to fight her and her insurances," I said, "I'm going to proceed with criminal charges for neglect and elder abuse." She was out within 24 hours. So I can be quite the turd. Um, but it's just sad that as a society we've gotten there. We've got there, that we can't hold water for our elders to drink. We lock the families out, but the nurses can't hold water for the elders to drink. But we'll let them become impacted and almost rupture and get almost septic and almost die and justify it with, we're too overworked. But we lock the door so family can't come in and help. I was going to tear that woman. Ooh, I was going to tear that woman a new one. So yeah, sometimes you do have to be a turd. Sometimes you absolutely have to be a turd. And I used to prosecute those parole warrants. I've still got like several hundred open warrants, so I can get subpoenaed at any time. I do sometimes get subpoenaed at the most random of times. And but I was ready to take her on because I was like, "You're just okay with gonna let her die? No, no." That's it, Haley. The ones that we should protect and provide for are the ones that we exploit the most. That's when America started going downhill. Was when we turned our face from God and we turned our face from doing the right thing. And we're all we're doing is reaping what we've been sowing. And sad to say, but the rest of us that have tried to be good people, we've lived in the shadows of these horrible monsters and not done enough. We've not done enough. And I'm one of them. We've not done enough. We've not done enough. We've not been loud enough, been vocal enough, been fussing enough, and we've not fought for, and I'm not saying physically, I'm not a violent person, but we've not fought to have our voices heard and to have our way of life and our standards maintained as a nation. We've just not done enough. So we're all to blame, and we've all got to fix it. I just don't know if it's going to be. I just don't know if it's fixable. Duct tape and WD-40 does a lot of things, but I'm not sure it's going to help in this situation. I do too. I hate the hospitals and I hate urgent care, and I love my doctors because they work with me as much as they possibly can. They work with me, and I think they've set me up a good team for this winter. And it's expensive, but I think it's necessary. And I'm hoping that I have a better spring and summer because of it. I don't think I'm going to enjoy this winter much because that physical therapy dude is quite serious. So, but then again, I used to be a big muscular woman, so maybe I'll get some muscle back on me because I'm what they say, I'm in the wasting phase of this disorder. And so I've lost a whole lot of muscle and a whole lot of my muscle mass and my healthy side of me. And I need it back. So we'll see. Maybe this winter will, at least I have people checking on me. So anyway, I just need to come on here and fuss. Every once in a while, you just need to fuss. I need to fuss. I'm like everybody else. I've had a crappy month. I needed to fuss. That ticked me off. but we'll get through it. But if you buy something, please talk to us, because we want you to come back and we want you to know exactly what you've got. We want to answer any questions. We want you to feel like you did buy from a friend and that it's somebody you can just check on. Or if you have a problem, like there's some stuff I sell and I'm like, if you have a problem with it, you can't fix it, send it to me. I'll fix it, send it back. And it's just who we are as people. It's just who we are. And so I'm always going to stand up when somebody tries to like throw a falsehood on who we are. And I'm certainly not going to let people talk bad about my husband, because he's the finest man I ever met. So I get a little irritated when people talk about my husband and the quality of his work. Every hospital is understaffed, and they keep it that way because it's all about the money and it's not about the care. That's what's wrong with the whole world. That's why Bill Gates, who has no special knowledge except for how to steal information from IBM and create viruses to create money, he has no special knowledge. What degree does he have? Tell me. I got more education than that man. I just don't have the money. Money talks. You drop me and him in the backwoods, I bet you I live longer. Now, I might not come out looking near as good. I bet you I live longer. Well, Clara, I hope she changes her view. But I suspect David will tell her he's normally when people think he sent fake stuff, he'll be like, take it. He's like, if you replace it, take it outside and break it and then tell me. Because he wants people to see that it's real. So I hope that I have an idea of what he's going to say to her, because it's kind of how he responds. But I hope she corrects it, and that to have the integrity to go, okay, I was wrong, and I'll correct it. That would make me feel much better. It'd make me feel much better if she would have messaged us the 4 times back, but some people won't. Yeah, and he's outlawed in India, and he gets off a plane in India, and they're going to come after him. So, but anyway, we all know how mad of a man he is. Having money doesn't mean you're a good person. It means you've hit some good luck and you've probably made some good decisions. It doesn't mean you're a good person. What you do with your money says a lot about you. And that's what people need to look at Bill Gates. And everybody's like, oh, he donated his money. He made like a 30 plus times, return on investment within the last 3 years. Every major rich person has like quadrupled their net worth during all this, except for the normal working man. So we all know what this is about. We all know what this is about. Were you? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm getting tired. I'm going to have to get myself laid back down. I'm going to let Oscar out and check the front porch. I'm going to lay back down. But I am eating a little bit and obviously feeling better because I got irritated. Amen. Haley, amen. He's done so much damage to women and children, it's pathetic. And you just kind of have to say vague statements like that, because if you try to say anything specific, you'll get cut down on these platforms. But if you do your research, you know. Hi, Snugglepuss. I haven't seen you in a while. Of course, I've been sick. I haven't been on much, so it's nice to see your name pop up. But you caught me at the very end. I'm getting tired, so I'm going to have to go. But I am doing better. I'm getting skinny because I've been so sick. Wouldn't that be something? You'll see me on America's Next Top Model. Get ready, Tyra. I can smize. Oh, Lord. I must be feeling better. Arm slap, happy, and delusional one. Either is quite possible this time. I'm going to go back to bed. Y'all have a good night. Hopefully, I'll feel better tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. I know that David has a surprise for y'all next Sunday, something really neat, so make sure you do catch Couples Chat. I should be there, barring another setback. Night, guys. Thanks for letting me rant.